Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Frank from MJF Wrestling. So I want to talk about the burial of one of my favorite tag teams, The Revival. Now, I know it's popular and fun to say, fuck the Revival, but I think it's a little endearing. But really, Vince McMahon probably does say fuck the Revival. And I can't understand why. This is an amazing tag team. They're an old school tag team. You know, makes you think of the Brain Busters and the Hart Foundation and the British Bulldogs. Not so much the Bulldogs. You know, Dynamite was a little more of a high flyer. But definitely the Brain Busters and the Hart Foundation. Two of my favorite teams. I mean, shit, I'm Canadian. It would be sacrilege if I wasn't a Bret Hart fan. Bret Hart, #1, baby! Anyway. So it's well documented. They asked for their release and they didn't get it. And they were offered 5-year contract extensions. And let me ask you, why would you take a 5-year extension just to be made a fool of on a weekly basis? I mean, we have shower scenes with them shaving each other's backs. That's not weird at all. Me and my buddies do it all the time. They come over, hop in the shower with me, shave my back, shave my ass crack. You know, the normal thing that friends do. And now you have the Usos getting them to put Icy Hot down their pants. Again, what the fuck is going on? And it all goes back to the burial during that 25th anniversary show, right? And you just knew weeks before, leading up to it, that it was going to be them, right? They were going to be that year's Ascension. And it's a joke. It's a fucking travesty, okay? Vince McMahon, I guess, sees no value in a tag team division. Hence why we have a guy that lost 200 plus matches in a row and Zack Ryder as champions beating the Revival, who can't win a fucking match now that they're champions. And that goes for pretty well every champion. Seth Rollins just got pinned, right? Samoa Joe lost. I forget who the IC title holder is. Finn Balor. Yeah, Finn Balor lost to Andrade Cien Almas, who, by the way, is an amazing wrestler. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the Revival and how shitty they've been treated. Now, one of the guys I listen to, JD from NY, cool guy. I think we share a lot of the same opinions. Obviously, I'm not extreme like he is, but I do share opinions with him, and I share a love of tag team wrestling with him. And it's amazing to me that Vince has no value for tag team wrestling, and yet almost every show you'll see a tag team match, or a 6-man tag team match, or a fucking 8-man tag team match, or a 72-man tag team match. But never does it include actual tag teams. It's always, hey, enemy 1, enemy 2, that's it, you're in a team. How about we put some value and stock in some of these great tag teams that you have? And one thing JD has said is merge the division. And he's right. You don't have enough guys on either show, and the champions can go from one to other. I mean, because what the fuck is the brand split now anyway, right? I mean, guys just show the fuck up whenever they want. It's fucking stupid. Um, so yeah, merge it, okay, and use the revival. And if you're not going to use the revival, then do the right thing and let them walk. But they won't, because Vince is a petty, manipulative, vile human being. Now, I know I'm sure that sounds quite slanderous, but he's shown it time and again. I mean, just watch Wrestling with Shadows, you know? He has his favorites, and clearly the revival aren't them, right? They got chosen to be champions because they wanted to leave. But you could tell that, I mean, even they lost, right, as champions. And you can tell, well, you could tell at the time that it was just a shitty push, right? Just so they wouldn't leave. They didn't put any stock in them. They didn't care about them. Now you have them refusing a 5-year extension, which, by the way, who the fuck would want to be with the WWE for an additional 5 years? You take a look at the fact that they have way too many people on the roster. You look at the fact that they ruin just about every person that gets called up from NXT. You look at the travel. These are people that have families. Some don't, but I'm sure they want to see their families. And not everybody's lucky enough to travel with their girlfriend or wife or husband or boyfriend, whatever the fuck it is, right? Some people want to be able to go home and see their significant other, see their kids, not show up for 2 days a week and then have to leave again, right? Not just leave, but pay for your own travel, pay for your own insurance, pay for your own accommodations, right? I mean, this goes all into the whole employee versus contracted thing, which that's a whole nother video. But really, the crux of the matter here is, why would you want to stay with a company like that? Especially when there's offers out there where people are now showing that you don't need the WWE machine to make a great living. Right? Now, not everybody is the elite. Not everybody's making the money that they are. But they're showing you that you can with hard work while working a lot less. It all comes down to your brand and how hard you push it and your smarts. I mean, just look what they've done. And like my boy JD has said, they will definitely, the revival I mean, be in AEW. Now, whether that's April of next year, or if Vince, in his infinite wisdom, decides to tack on months because they were injured, which is funny. You tack on months on the contract when they get injured on your watch, right? You're the boss. You're responsible for them. They get injured while under your supervision and you're punishing them for it? Jesus Christ, this guy. He's done a lot for wrestling. He really has. But that was a long time ago. It's time to let go. It's time to let somebody else take the reins. I don't know. Maybe Triple H. He certainly has a respect for indie wrestlers. And face it, indie wrestlers are the future. A lot of people like to call them vanilla midgets. But here's the fact. Takeovers always sell out. They always do better than the big shows. And how many of the guys on takeover shows are legit WWE products, homegrown talent, and how many are indie guys that were signed by Triple H? For every Velveteen Dream, who is amazing, there are 10 other guys that are signed from the indies, because that is the future. You're seeing it around the world. You know, it's not just WWE. The global wrestling scene is booming. Japan, Mexico, UK, Europe, even Canada, right? We're fucking crazy about wrestling up here. It's exploding, and I think Triple H sees that. That's why he's trying to open up NXTs in other countries and continents. But Vince doesn't get it. Vince just wants big, meaty, sweaty men that he can look at and salivate after. So, in closing, the Revival. They're going to continue to be buried until they leave. I agree with JD when he said that they should just pull the Neville and say fuck you and leave. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? They sit out, right? Or they get fired. Vince would probably let them sit out and drum up a way to extend their contract even further. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan. You know, I'm a 35-year-old man. I've been watching this shit since I was 5 years old. Okay? I lived through some pretty bad points in wrestling, and it's never been this bad. Never. You know, Raw last night, no one cared. No one. Right? You still got Roman Reigns getting somewhat cheered because of sympathy, and good for him, I suppose. I mean, you know, the old thinking was, hey, we can get somebody over by turning them. Now it's, we can get somebody over by them getting sick and fighting for their life. To me, that's just crazy. That's nuts. But really, it's just indicative of the bigger problem. No one cares. No one cares at these shows. And I have to ask myself, why are you paying all this money to watch these shows if you don't care? What, you're going to pay hundreds of dollars to throw a fucking beach ball? To chant you suck? Here's a novel idea. Save your fucking money. Don't go to the show. Pay your fucking rent or mortgage. Or take your kids out somewhere where you can actually have a good time. Because what I see is a bunch of fucking people sitting front row or wherever they are, looking at their goddamn phone, checking Twitter. You know, live tweeting from WWE. Just stop going. That's the only way that the old man's gonna learn. So hey, I know I started this video about the Revival and went on a tangent. That tends to happen with me. My friends hate me for it. But I like to think some of it made sense. But hey, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and give a big middle finger to that goddamn bell. All right. This is Frank from MJF Wrestling. Peace out. Love you all. Ciao.